Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What's really bothering me right now is how quiet everything has gotten around the Phillies. We're sitting here with Nick Castellanos still on the roster, Harrison Bader's future completely up in the air, an outfield situation that makes zero sense, and somehow we don't even have a starting catcher locked in. There's a mountain of work left to do this offseason, and the silence is deafening. I want to break down what we actually know right now, what the Phillies might be planning, and honestly where they might be waiting too long and setting themselves up to get burned. Here's the thing that's driving me crazy. There are no real rumors, nothing credible about what's next for Philadelphia. So what I want to do is take everything we know, filter out the generic GM talk and the obvious bluffing, and try to figure out where this team is actually headed, because right now it feels like we're in limbo. Let's talk about the outfield first, since that's where most of the conversation has been focused. I saw this tweet from Hembo that really summed up what a lot of us are feeling. He laid out the projected outfield: Brandon Marsh in left, Justin Crawford in center, Adolis García in right. His quote was brutal but fair. He said he'd love to be wrong, but that might be the worst outfield in baseball. Now look, I think that's a little extreme, maybe a bit over the top, but I completely understand the sentiment. This outfield has been a weakness for years now, and this lineup doesn't make me feel any better about it. Each of these guys comes with serious risk. We need at least one more reliable body out there, someone who can consistently contribute. Whether that's a platoon partner for Marsh or insurance for Crawford, we need another piece. Speaking of Crawford, I'm not ready to pencil him in as a sure thing. This kid hasn't faced major league pitching yet. He hasn't made his debut. Counting on him as a certainty is premature at best. Though I will say it was pretty cool seeing him take hacks in the cage with Shane Victorino throwing to him. Granted, Victorino's pitching wasn't exactly impressive in that clip. Maybe Crawford should face some tougher competition in practice. But the fact that relationship is developing is meaningful. Victorino is exactly the type of player Crawford should model his game after, and it's great that Shane is willing to get involved like that. Props to both of them for putting in that work. But back to the bigger picture. The outfield has questions, and the biggest question mark has been Nick Castellanos. Every report, every rumor, everything we've heard since summer ended has pointed to his time in Philadelphia being done. We've seen reports saying he's expected to be traded or released. I get it. Nick doesn't have the biggest fan club here, and there are legitimate reasons to be frustrated with him. The plate approach, the defensive limitations, all of that is fair criticism. But here are the facts. This guy just finished his age 33 season with 137 hits, 17 home runs, and 72 RBIs. Even with all his shortcomings, he's been the most consistent bat in this outfield during his time here. Does that mean he's worth the headaches and the price tag? No, absolutely not. But you have to understand that by letting him walk, you're solving one problem while creating another. If this current outfield isn't good enough, then you need to find replacements that actually improve the situation. I'm not saying they should keep Castellanos. I think the damage is done. The relationship is beyond repair. But you still have to think logically about how you move forward. Any way you slice it, the Phillies are going to eat money on this. And that's especially frustrating when you look at the Matt Strahm trade, which was clearly financially motivated. You're basically undoing that savings with a move that's purely personal and relationship driven. Every decision needs to be made with winning in mind. Can you argue his personality is detrimental? Maybe. Do I think that's actually the case? Probably not. Castellanos stays in his own world, in his own bubble. What I've always given him credit for is that he delivers. He shows up in the postseason. He gives everything he's got. He's not dogging it out there. He wants to play more than his talent might warrant, and honestly, I can live with that being the issue. My request is simple: have an alternative. You cannot let Castellanos walk and then expect the outfield production to stay the same when you're relying on Marsh with all his platoon issues against lefties, Crawford, who's a complete unknown, and Garcia, who's a buy low target coming off back-to-back down years. Garcia has flashed all-star talent when he's on, but he needs to find himself again. A change of scenery might help. I think it will help, but it's not a sure thing. The stranger situation to me has been JT Realmuto. I thought this would be straightforward. He's coming off a season where he had 12 homers, 52 RBIs, a 315 on base percentage, 129 hits, and a 384 slugging percentage at age 34. Beyond the numbers, the intangibles he brings are invaluable. Managing the pitching staff, locker room leadership, the respect he commands from everyone. I thought JT was almost certain to return, especially when you look at the catching options available elsewhere. Nothing out there inspires confidence. Everything feels like a bigger risk than it's worth. Beyond the best move for everyone seems to be kicking the can down the road on finding a long-term catcher and giving JT another contract. I'd say 2 years. If he wants 3, I could live with that and figure it out later. But what caught my attention was the Phillies signing catcher Mark Calazvari to a minor league deal this week. Now, this is just a minor league contract. He spent time at AA and AAA last year. He's a nice contact hitter. It's interesting they're adding depth at catcher. I don't think this is directly related to JT's situation. It's probably more about Garrett Stubbs' insurance, but it raised my eyebrows. Then there's this quote from Dave Dombrowski from a couple weeks ago. He said catcher is really their main focus. And as far as everyday positional players other than catcher, they're pretty well set. Realmuto has been with the Phillies since 2019 and is a key part of the core. Yet no deal has been reached, despite Dombrowski saying the two sides continue to talk. He said they continue to stay in contact, but it's probably not much different than where they've been in the past. They continue to grind along to see if they can come up with a solution. They've talked consistently about trying to sign JT and remain that way, but they haven't been able to get it done so far. What's the holdup? Is this about contract length like it was with Kyle Schwarber? Is there interest from other teams willing to spend more than the Phillies? I find it hard to believe Philadelphia wouldn't match any offer, but the lack of momentum is strange. I want a resolution, because if JT somehow signs elsewhere, that leaves a massive void at catcher and a really tough problem to solve. I'm not a believer in the catching talent available right now. If the Phillies have to find a fix, they'll need to get creative and move fast. I hope we're not heading down that path, but it's weird that there hasn't been more progress. Then there's Harrison Bader. He was the prized midseason trade acquisition, and Dombrowski got that one right. Bader made a major impact. Someone tweeted wondering what kind of deal he'll get. It's a weak outfield free agent class, and he just put up the best overall season of his career. 3.9, BWAR, 501 plate appearances / 277, 347, 449 with a 796 OPS. 24 doubles, 17 homers, 54 RBIs, 11 stolen bases. His glove remains excellent. He turns 32 in June. This might be his last shot at something multi-year. That's exactly what I think the holdup is. This is Bader's chance to get his big contract, likely the biggest of his career, and he should prioritize that. I think it's unlikely Harrison Bader returns to Philadelphia, and it's purely going to come down to cost. I'd love to be wrong. I see tremendous value in what he brings. I think we might have had a very different playoff outcome if Bader hadn't been dealing with that groin injury. Remember when he got subbed in to pinch hit, single to left field, limp to first, and got immediately taken out? Dude did his job. That was legendary. The outfield made so much more sense with him in center field, covering up the defensive issues. A guy like Bader changes the entire outlook, whether as a platoon with Marsh or as insurance if Crawford isn't ready. These things appeal to me. Garcia carries risk too. I want another outfield bat, whether it's Bader or not. I think it's unlikely to be him, but Dombrowski shouldn't just be sitting on his hands thinking this is the outfield of the future. There are too many question marks. The work isn't done for the Phillies. That message needs to be clear. I hope rumors and reports start heating up in the coming days and weeks, because there's still a lot more work to be done on this roster. If I'm laying out my priorities right now, JT Realmuto is number one. That's the next thing I want to get done as a franchise. Figuring out the Nick Castellanos situation is next, and that ties into adding another outfield bat to make sense of that entire group. These need to be dealt with in the relatively short term. Let me know if you agree. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe. Drop a like on this video. I'll be back talking to you next time.